Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's Indoraptor is a xenomorph-esque beast with long humanoid arms, disjointed, cracking teeth and a lovely racing stripe, but it was almost something entirely different. My Twitter blew up a little overnight with these new concept art images that not only show what the Indoraptor was originally envisioned to look like, but also some of the scenes planned that were unfortunately cut prior to production. Let's take a look at some early designs first, all by Chris Brand art. The first thing you'll notice is that the now trademark black colouring is not there quite yet. Instead, the Indoraptor has a pink, almost fleshy tone to it, along with some shades of white. I imagine it was meant to look like a small, malformed Indominus Rex initially, and you can see plenty of remnants of the I-Rex design in the spines, those bony nodules, of course the colour, and the messed up teeth are still present as well. If there's one thing I do love about this initial design that got scrapped pretty quickly though, it's the eyes. Those milky, pupilless eyes that are so alien and creepy compared to the more intelligent direction they went with the final design. The following designs are pretty similar to that first one, but we can see a progression towards what the Indoraptor would eventually be. The second is pretty much identical to the first, just a bit pinker, a bit less detailed, not wholly interesting if we're honest, but in the third we begin to see hints of the eventual Indoraptor coming into play with the darker colours emerging, particularly up the back of the dinosaur. The raptor was clearly, initially at least, meant to look mutated in a more conventional sense, rather than designed as a weapon per se, as it ended up. You can see in this one how the dinosaur has rips and tears in its flesh, old, painful looking scars dropping down from its eye and throat. It looks like a creature that's suffered. That's embellished even further in this penultimate piece that strongly resembles, say to me at least, the infected from The Last of Us. The scarring on the throat remains, but it's been filled in by tender looking pustules, similar to the ones that have sprung up around the eyes. Even the bony plates on top of the head look peculiarly fleshy and uncomfortable. This is an Indoraptor born from haphazard science, not one designed to kill. And although I like some of the designs, I can see why it didn't really fit in the tone of the final film. This final image from Chris Brand goes in an entirely different direction though, and is much closer in some ways to the Indoraptor we ended up getting. It's simpler, a lot simpler than the earlier ones. Darker, but it still looks a little bit too much like the Indominus Rex in some ways. It doesn't have that sleek, alien-esque nature that would come to define the Indoraptor. For that, we need to go look at some other art. This still pretty early art by, I'm gonna try this name, but I'm gonna butcher it, Yama Urabev. I'm gonna call him Yama. It's still very clearly similar to the final design. It has that long sleek body, the humanoid arms, the screwed up teeth, and even the spines erupting from the back. What it also has is a Dilophosaurus crest. Now originally the Dilophosaurus was meant to be a part of Fallen Kingdom. We saw the animatronic a long time ago, and I'm hoping it'll reappear in the director's cut, but it's interesting that it was originally part of the Indoraptor's design. This wasn't a one-off either. Another piece by the same artist shows the Indoraptor having just slaughtered somebody, and the crest is there yet again, so clearly this was part of the initial design phase. Though the racing stripe, interestingly, was not, and actually came in quite late. I will say, I quite like it. I think it gives the dinosaur just a little bit more personality, and it's a nice homage to a beloved dinosaur that didn't quite make the final cut. If I had to hazard a guess as to why it's gone, I'd suggest the Indoraptor was originally going to be able to spit in the same way the Dilophosaurus does, but when the dilo was cut, they figured it would seem to include its feature in another dinosaur, but who really knows? Now for some truly interesting stuff however, some cut scenes. Apparently early on in pre-production the film was also meant to have a white Indoraptor, one which would have then been killed by the black Indoraptor that we see throughout Fallen Kingdom, a kind of way to establish the Indoraptor as the boss and to perhaps also symbolically kill off the Indominus Rex. Two hybrid dinosaurs fighting each other isn't really what I want personally from Jurassic Park, but I imagine this was actually cut because it bears a strong resemblance to the origin story for the Indominus Rex, which of course ended up killing its own sibling. Perhaps the white Indoraptor was the initial version originally. Logical given it shares a colour scheme with its genetic donor the Indominus Rex, whereas the darker Indoraptor, more suited perhaps to modern warfare, was the follow-up version, Indoraptor 2.0. Whether they both broke out and fought, or the Lockwood group planned to test the abilities of 2.0 by pitting it against the white one, we'll likely never know. But it would have been interesting to hear more details at least about the Indoraptor design process, about how we got to that final version. To close out, we have one more piece of fairly incredible art showing the Indoraptor in its near final form, sans racing stripe, clasping a human skull within its claws. Unfortunately, I've not been able to find a higher quality version of this yet, but it's an awesome image regardless, and it really sells the creepy vibe the Indoraptor was obviously meant to evoke. There's actually some details on what this scene was meant to be right here, and I'm just going to read out the artist's description to you guys. One deleted scene from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom included the introduction to the Indoraptor, playing with a human skull in its cage. The scene is detailed in the junior novelization, Mills describing to Eversole how the Indoraptor's cage was in darkness because the light burned out, and when a technician went in to replace it, they learned the hybrid needed 3 darts to be fully tranquilized, hence the remains of the technician's skull. Watching the tape back, they had learned that the Indoraptor had purposely broken the light. As you can see by the storyboard, the arm playing with the tape skull was practical. The scene was meant to be done via animatronic, as we can see in the preliminary sketch, and I think it would have been a great addition to the film. Hell, I actually think it would have been an improvement on what we got, in all honesty. This scene is clearly the scene that inspired the death of Ken Wheatley in the film, wherein he goes into the cage to grab an Indoraptor tooth and ends up being devoured. Instead of Ken being an idiot, which if we're honest, he was, instead a technician would have been sent in to replace a seemingly burned out light. Both scenes have an Indoraptor showing its resilience to tranquilizer darts, but only one has an actually good reason for the characters to enter the cage, even if it is still a little bit flimsy. Interestingly, the Indoraptor breaking the light was still sort of used, as we saw the Indoraptor breaking the elevator console in the eventual film anyway. In both cases, why did nobody do any research into how many tranks take down an Indoraptor? Sheesh. I guess they didn't have a good way to kill off Wheatley without this scene, and the eventual version with the Indoraptor pretending to be asleep certainly shows its sneaky and intelligent manner more than simply knocking out a light does. But I still want that scene now of the Indoraptor with the skull between its claws. It's a shame. Alas, a white Indoraptor, a poor technician, some mutated early dinosaurs, the concept art keeps rolling in and showing us what would have been a pretty damn different film in some cases. Better film? Impossible to say. I like the look of some of the scenes, but I do actually understand why they were cut. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Would this have been a better introduction to the Indoraptor? Would you have wanted to see those two Indoraptors fight, and maybe even see those diseased, mutated versions? That could have even been one of the dinosaurs taken down by the black Indoraptor. Let me know down below, and please do hit the like button, smash it if you like. If you enjoyed this video, it really does help me out. Cheers, much love, and as always, bye bye. Quick little shout out at the end. This video and others like it would not be possible at all without the support of you guys watching me at home, and also everyone on this Patreon page right here who supported me in the last month. If you want to help out as well, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. Every little really helps. Cheers.